Hello, everybody, and a very, very warm welcome today. And gosh, it really is warm here in Greece. We're having what they call a mini May heat wave. I think we've had about probably close to 35 degrees, or it feels like that here, Celsius. So in America, I think that's around about 100 degrees or so Fahrenheit. So quite hot. So I'm absolutely delighted to be with you today. I realize I gave you no notice that I was going to go live because I've been thinking about this live for day after day after day. And with Mercury retrograde, I've still been thinking about it. Yes, still hadn't scheduled it. I still hadn't done it. And I'm thinking, do you know what? It's just going to have to be one of these breakthrough of this slow Taurus energy and saying, I'm just going to do it now, and whoever joins are going to be the perfect family to be here at this time. So a very big welcome. Now, I just would like to check, is the sound clear enough? So, welcome, welcome, welcome. My Patreon members have asked a few questions, not that many actually, so I think I'll get through their questions relatively quickly, and please prepare any other questions that you might have that you would like to ask, because I think there'll probably be a little time as well for live viewers' questions, because there's nothing like creating in the moment. Yeah, there's nothing like being in this vibratory, loving, uplifting, inspiring field together. So, wow, hi from the top of the Mantiqueira Mountains in Brazil. Wow. Okay, Candace is saying here, no buying big purchases and no signing contracts. Your workplace is negotiating a new contract. Well, Candace, if it's a renegotiation, that can be fine during a Mercury retro. If it's something that started before the retro, then it can complete nicely during this time. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but just make sure you check things 100 times over if you must sign something important. That's all I'm going to say to you. Metaphysical Mike, thank you. You heard me telling forgiving yourself in all timelines. Wow. That sounds amazing, forgiving yourself in all timelines. Beautiful. I love something that I read recently by Yogananda. He was asked, what in the autobiography of a yogi do you feel is one of the most powerful messages? Because I think that's probably one of the most widely read books. And it's relevant to your question here, Metaphysical Mike. And he answered this. He said, Sri Yukteswar, who was his guru, said that it's best just to forget about your past. Because because human behavior is largely unreliable until you are coming from a very, he calls it coming from the divine, but we might also call it, I think, forgive me, Yogananda, we might also call it if you're coming from the highest possible loving frequency. So until we reach that high frequency, the past things that we might have done that we're not very proud of, or that we'd like to redo, just forget them, because we're constantly doing our best to reach these higher frequencies. So great that you've forgiven yourself on all timelines. So Madhuri is asking, can you sign contracts during this time or wait until June 3rd? Madhuri, if it's something that you can't get out of, then absolutely just do it, but check it and check and recheck and recheck. And take out some insurance or something just in case. But if you can delay until June 4th, so much the better. Okay. Oh, Mike, you ordered incorrect business cards for 2 of your employees during the retro. Okay, these just things can happen, but it's a wonderful time, as I said on my recent short that I just posted a few minutes ago, because during Mercury retro, you may find yourself just somehow not necessarily accomplishing as much as you'd like to. So it's a matter of just picking that bull up by the horns, Taurus, picking him up and saying, right, I'm going to do this. And I just got on the phone with a bank that I've been trying to close an account with for 2 years, pretty much. And, you know, my heart was sinking. I thought, you know, Mercury retro, Taurus, good time for completing financial things that you've tried to start before the retro. And it was a piece of cake. It was so easy and so quick. So it can be a very good time. So let me start out with one of the first questions from, let's see, Mother Willow, who asked about Saturn returns and the Saturn energy. She asked about the Saturn energy generally, because we still have Saturn in Aquarius until March the 8th of next year, 2023. And she said she feels there's a lot of Saturn energy around. And what is Saturn energy? Saturn energy is all about lessons. What are we learning? What do we need to structure differently? So in Aquarius, we're looking at restructuring our systems. We're looking at how can we make things more equitable? How can it be right that, I don't know, the 1% owns more than 50%? Or so, I don't know what the figures are, don't quote me, please. But this is not equitable. And the other thing about the Saturn energy is Saturn asks you, what is really necessary? You can only wear 1 pair of shoes at once. You can only drive 1 car at once. How much stuff do you need? And is that extra piece of stuff going to make you happy? So these are questions. These are questions. So asking yourself, what do I really need? How can I make my life very simple? And how can we spread the wealth of this planet? This planet is so rich, it's so abundant. And we are so rich when we come together and work together. So these are some of the questions to just ask yourself, what do I need to restructure so that it makes my life more in balance? And Aquarius draws the nervous system. So the weighed downness of the nervous system. Yes, if your nervous system is too activated, you're running around, you're rushing around, your thoughts are running around, rushing around. You're not taking time to be peaceful, to be calm, to be in nature. It's about having ways to disconnect your nervous system from the social media, the social networks, and to discern the ones that are really uplifting to you, the ones that are bringing us together in useful and valuable scenarios, or is it, what are we working with? These are just all the questions here. So there's some great questions coming in. Okay. So Mother Willow, with Saturn in Aquarius, these are a lot of the themes that we are working with. And disconnecting from that overactivity. Thank you, Gypsy Barrett, yeah? Overactive, over nervous, yeah? It's like if the phone goes, you're jumping up, or you hear an email come in and you open it immediately. Can you create some space so that your nervous system gets a rest? Now, another question I had was from Lee Lynn, and she asked, what about Saturn returns? She's coming up to her second Saturn return, and she's had a car accident, thank goodness not too serious, I hope. Somebody important in her life passing, maybe a job change, a relocation, and Saturn returns happen between the ages of about 28 to 31, and again between about 58 to 61-ish. So in those years, Saturn comes back to the place it was at when you were born. And it's a time when you really grow up. It's a time when you sort of look at your life and say, where do I need to take more responsibility? And maybe where do I need to let go of responsibilities? It can be a time of endings, of completions, and an opportunity to plant some new seeds. It's a time to look at what lessons am I learning. Very often, if you're not getting a lesson, it comes back again and again, and Saturn presents it to you again until you get it. It can be a simple lesson, like, you know, you're not feeling very good after you've eaten too much chocolate, maybe. Just a simple lesson. At first time you don't feel good, second time might be a headache, third time might be a tummy ache, and so it leads on. So can you look at what it is that you really need to learn at this time? There's a lot to say about Saturn returns. I probably should do a separate video about it, but that in a nutshell is about, there's usually some big life changes and an opportunity to restructure your life, your time, your values, the people in your life, the work that you do. That isn't to say that there aren't other opportunities, but Saturn returns are usually serious times of re-evaluation and restructuring. Right. Carolyn, yep, you must be in your Saturn return, second Saturn return. Thank you. Thank you, Alessandra. I think it's just being with you guys. It's just uplifting, enlivening, and I so enjoy it being live. There's something, how can I say, you know, when I prepare videos, that's one thing, then I have to imagine you're here. But when you're actually here, it's like, woohoo! It's very exciting. So Michael is asking, how will the US Pluto return restructure our crumbling democracy? Well, it's probably going to, it's a big question, but it's probably going to bring a lot of corruption to the surface, a lot of things coming out that need to come out, that need to be dealt with, that no longer can be hidden. I mean, I think the world is deeply saddened by these repeated school shootings that go on in the United States. I don't know of another country that seems to have it to the magnitude or that it seems to us from overseas. So that there are some profound structural, governmental, organizational shifts. And things may have to crumble in order for new things to be built. And the question is, what needs to go and what can stay? And I think it's about we the people. What do the people want? What do we want as people? That's why I'm so involved now. I feel that I'm on a mission now to connect the strands of New Earth. That we instead of complaining about what we've got, instead of looking at that and fighting that, and getting into fights and fisticuffs and you and that and the divisiveness, let's just create New Earth. And I think that's beginning to happen at certain grassroots levels, and that's what I'm working towards with you, to inspire you. I'll be, as I said, interviewing some movers and shakers I've got one coming on June the 8th, Niv Amir, who's a mover and shaker in Israel and really bringing together people from all over the globe, including working with Palestinians and other Arabs and all the things that we think are impossible according to our media. There is a new world that is being created, and this is this Pluto return. So we must not allow ourselves to be dominated by this fear frequency. It's a frequency. And it's overwhelmed our nervous systems, many of us. And some of us are just beginning to dig ourselves out of it and say, hey, it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. So, now you're asking such great questions. It's very tantalizing not to answer them. Mars Days ask, should you approach writing and creativity? With joy. Do whatever you do with a smile on your face and joy in your heart. And you'll find that your creativity will just blossom. Simple as that. And yeah, Good Witchy, absolutely seeing both sides of the guns issue. Yeah, it's very, very difficult. I take your point. And this is where we're on this edge of divisiveness again. Yeah. So, there's another question here from Danielle, who's asking about Uranus upheavals. We've got these upheavals where she's asking, could the internet be interrupted? And certainly could be, or by humans or by Mother Earth. It could be done by humans, of course, and Mother Earth with solar flares and what else. And what can we do about that? And, you know, should she upgrade her home, put solar panels in, or should she move somewhere smaller? Well, these are very personal questions, Danielle, but in terms of could the internet go down? Yes, it could. Could it go down for long periods? My guess is I would doubt it. Uranus tends to do things suddenly, but they're not necessarily long-winded. They're a surprise, they're a shock, and then we have to get creative. And what I love about the human spirit is, especially when we can rev one another up and be really spirited together, is that we're really creative at finding solutions. There are many people on our planet right now who are finding solutions to the new economy, the new medicine, the new healing, the new education, the new government. Yeah, there's so much happening. This is, as I said, I feel my mission here with the transformation of all systems, from astrology to science to medicine. We're going to have to rewrite all the books. What are we holding on to? What is still valuable and valid? And where must we spiritualize our lives? Yeah, they've got to be filled with spirituality, with the unseen forces. If we live only in the world of materialism, we're just going to decapitate the earth, destroy the earth further and further and further, and destroy one another in this process. So we know we have to change. And this can be an exciting period as well. So what I would say is, she's asking, are there safer countries to be in? Or is this transition going on inside of us and no geographical movement is needed? Well, I would say that it's really important to trust your intuition on this, your dreams. Get into a very quiet space, ask your guides, ask for guidance, ask God, ask whoever it or whatever it is that you feel most connected to, source energy. And do what feels right for you, but do your best not to come from a fear frequency. When I escaped to New Zealand during COVID. Still can't believe I went to New Zealand during a global pandemic. A lot of my motivation was fear motivated. There was tremendous fear mongering going on in Greece. We were frightened to death here. And I felt as though I might be getting away from it. But of course, it was very short-lived. Because anything you do from the fear frequency, unless it's a real, situation where you are involved and they're dropping bombs on you, then okay. And of course you have to move. But I'm talking if you are in a peaceful nation right now and a peaceful place, and you're not living beyond your means, and you're not in heavy debt, then think carefully about what do I really need and where am I going over the top. So I hope that helps. Yes, good witchy. I think I must be crackers. But yes, I was still in the UK at one point. Right. So these were the main astrological questions. Here, Kaywood says you use a rechargeable battery powered lights and you charge them on the way to work with your car and it helps save on electric bills. Great. That's something proactive. You're doing something and it saves on bills. Brilliant. So we are really creative. And I think it's important that we don't get into this fear thinking mentality, because that has a tendency to draw more fear mongering events to us. And that we keep the frequency high and the appreciation of being together. I'm very aware it's getting dark here. Can you still see me, or do I need to turn a light on, so to speak? Or do I need to turn my light up a bit? Please tell me. Are you there? Is there anybody there? You can see me still. Okay, good. So I won't turn a light on unless it's really necessary. Okay. So I'm being asked here by Camilla, the Pleiadians encourage us to create new words. What would be their synonyms for a human being? Thank you for all the feedback. You're great, you guys. Thank you. It's so wonderful that we have this feedback. All right. So what would they give? Bavia, will you post that message just after I've answered this question of Camilla's? Because this is great. It's a great question. It's an important question. I think many people feel that. So come back with it again, please. And if I don't get to it, then put it in the comments and I'll do another Q&A and we'll answer more questions live. So what are their synonyms for a human being? Well, they're probably going to come up with some crazy words. Crazy words. And, well, let's just see what they come up with. This feels a bit strange to be doing this, but it's all right. Let's see what they come up with for a human being. Love. Love. That's what they want to say to you. You are just beaming love. She's also asking the year 2022. Working with twos and twos and twos. Coming together. That is what 2022 is about. Coming together. However you can do it, come together, be together. Find ways to be together. Even if you differ in opinions and you differ in thoughts and ideas, find a way to bring your frequencies together. You'll be amazed at what you can accomplish. Hololuminous, that's great, Nancy. Mike is asking, how are you able to tell when you are channeling when it is simply in your mind? Well, it's a good question, because it's something that comes out without thought. There is not a thought mechanism there. It's just vroom. Don't know how else to explain it. Am I still taking clients? I have a waiting list. Sometimes things come up in the last minute, so I do contact people on the waiting list from time to time, so it's worth going on the waiting list if you're interested. Yeah. Okay. Nancy Lou is asking, what have you learned about yourself since you had the fear and moved to New Zealand? Well, many things of which I've written about. I've written something on my website. You can read about going to New Zealand and back during a global pandemic. So I've actually written about that. And I'd say there were many lessons there. And the lesson is that you can't get away from your fears. You have to face your fears. So I faced my fears of traveling all that way on my own with having to wear a mask for 32 hours. Goodness knows what, of being checked and tested and nosed and all that stuff. And, you know, it was very intense. And I went through all those fears. And it didn't kill me. And was it an important journey? Very important. Many things came, many wonderful things came from it, although much of it was difficult. So, Sam is asking, how do we become more us? Are there any top tips from the Pleiadians? Well, what they say is just relax and allow yourself to shine and to come out. You've been encouraged to not really shine your light. Yes, because you've been told you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do the other. And really, it's just important to relax into your body, to relax into yourself. To savor the fact that your body is constantly changing. You think that you are the same, but you are not. You're constantly changing. You're in flux, and there is nothing that is stuck. Nothing is stuck. Everything is moving, and you can change anything that you want to change. And you are so much more powerful than you realize. Yeah. Thank you, Star Love. I'm very glad I got back to Greece too. I feel very more appreciative and more grateful than ever before. And also realizing that the grass is not necessarily greener. Yeah, it's not necessarily better somewhere else, because the truth is you take yourself with you wherever you go. I'm going to go and turn the light on because it is getting a bit dark. So just one moment, please. I haven't got a servant here to go and turn the light on. So I'm coming back in a minute. Right, and let there be light. Here we go. Oh. How's that? There we are. Thank you for being, oopsie daisy. Thank you for being patient. That's one of the troubles with being live. But yes, thinking that something is better somewhere else. And I missed my friends so much when I was away from them. I missed all my Greek people here, all the people I love. And it was nice to connect with some of my New Zealand buddies, although most of them had already left New Zealand as well. But yeah. So Mitzi asks, how will climate change affect our lives over the next 10 years? Wow. Gosh, I don't think I'm really an authority to answer that. Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I don't know if anybody else can answer it or whether we've got somebody else live who knows those, who knows a little more about that scientifically. But we're certainly in climate change, and we've got to begin to take care of our Earth and to create new Earth. And if we will do that now, especially while Uranus is in Taurus till 2025, not long, but this is a good window. And I think there are many new initiatives happening to create nutritious food, to stop us polluting our seas and our skies and our everything. Yeah, so there's a lot there. And Edith has also asked a question that is a difficult one here. Which cryptos to invest in to weather the storm? Even though I'm a financial advisor, it's just a very difficult question. I really don't know the answer to that. I think you're going to find that things are going to be extremely volatile, and that it's putting your money into something that is valuable to you. Yes, what are you putting your time, your energy into? Which cryptos? I mean, everybody would probably say Bitcoin, but people are also saying Bitcoin could come down considerably, maybe to 15,000. I don't know, is the honest answer. What I would say is, I think we're going to see a new kind of coin coming out, the people's coin, a coin that cannot be manipulated by somebody like Elon Musk or somebody coming in who can buy up billions and change the value, where it cannot be manipulated, where we're on an equal footing with one another, whether you've got a lot of money or whether you haven't got much money, that there is that it's going to be some kind of a people's currency. And I think that's coming. So, yeah, put your investment in time into what you love, what you enjoy. Simplify your life as best you can. Connect with people in your community if you can. Connect with a global community. You'll be amazed at people's ideas that we can do online with one another. It's amazing. So I think I have now answered. Shirley asked a question about the constellation of the Pleiadians, but we're out of that time period now. But the Pleiadians are just really encouraging us all to enjoy being alive. It's a privilege to be alive. It's a privilege to be in a body. And it's a privilege to be on the earth at this particular time. Because there are more opportunities than there've ever been. And it may not feel like that, but if you can begin to expand your thinking, you will see that there is so much that we can do together. It's unlimited, and we've just had a limited mindset that's been handed down to us. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Right. So I'll take other questions. Hey. Someone's calling me Brenda here. Warren, I'm not Brenda. I'm officially changing my name to Bracha now, and that's enough of an ordeal. Astrology's influence, is there a way to measure its impact? Yes, there have been studies, and even just as simple as studies about the full moon and the new moon. There are more people in hospital staff at the time of a full moon because there are more emergencies, more accidents, more births at the time of full moons than any other time. So yes, astrology more and more is being documented and proved. Dean, whoa, you're buying a double cappuccino freddo. Oh, how lovely. Take a sip for me, please. And that's okay, Warren. I hope I answered your question. Stacey, how can we unify as humanity? I think we begin to connect with people who want to create a new Earth together, who want to see a new Earth, who want to enjoy being alive, who want to resolve difficulties, knowing that they may come up, but with a mindset that we will find a way. We'll find a way to do it. Yeah, that we may use non-violent communication, we may use tools so that we can come together again, because there are always going to be things that come up between people, sure. But that we have this mindset that we're going to find a way. We're going to find a way to make this heaven on earth. Yeah. How to accept? These are great questions. Some of them are great questions. I just have to catch them as they come by. So somebody asked earlier about self-confidence. How can you build self-confidence when there are other people telling you you're great, but you don't feel it on the inside? Follow what it is that you enjoy and give yourself permission to do that wholeheartedly. Radhika's asking, have you aligned with the subtle changes in your personality? It's gone. Sorry. It's gone. It's gone. How to accept the fact that someone has stopped loving you and get over the pain of a breakup? Greenbreed asks. Yeah, well, that's very difficult at any time. But I think there is a grieving period. There is a letting go period. And if you can connect with source energy, with the divine energy, with your guides, have a meditation practice, connect with nature, find things that soothe you, be around people who love you. These are all ways to begin to heal that pain. Yeah. Katarina is asking, can I say something about restructuring personal relationships, South Node Scorpio, and how will we live them in the new Earth? Well, I think that we have to, South Node Scorpio, transform our relationships. We have to be authentic in our own right. Be ready to be real, be ready to be true, be ready to be honest. These are great, they're great questions, they're just big questions. KR has asked about, can you talk about name changes and the energies involved with that? Decision making, yeah, well, name changes, yes, I can certainly talk about that a little bit. I guess it's just the name that people call you. Does it resonate with you? Do you like being called that name? Or is there another name that you feel more attuned to? And that can change during your life. Or you may be really happy with your name. And thank you for liking the video, by the way, for subscribing and liking. It really gets more of our soul family. The more of us coming together with this vibrational frequency, the more we uplift one another. Yeah, it's just like we just uplift you. I'm hoping this is healing pains, healing sores, healing the wounds of a breakup, healing whatever pain may be in your body. Simone is asking about a buzzing in your head and a ringing in your right ear. I'm not sure, but it may be to do with something to do with the nervous system. I would probably look at what triggers it. Yeah, what triggers that noise? Do you like the noise? Do you not like the noise? Yeah, is it welcome? There's more to it than that, I think. Stacey Marie's dropping a last name. Okay. Do you get a new birthday chart when you take on a new name? Absolutely, yes. Although you will still have the one that you were born with as well. All right, China and Bill Gates do more than Elon Musk when it comes to buying up coins. Okay, Susie, I don't know, but I'm just talking about the manipulation of the markets by people who have a lot more than the average person. That's really what I'm talking about here. Beautiful community. Yes, this is a beautiful community, a supportive community. And Radhika, thank you for being here. Yeah, thank you for helping here on the live stream. Tessa is asking, what do you think of solar return charts? That's a good question. So a solar return chart is a chart that is done for your birthday. And depending where you are on your birthday can make a difference to the solar return chart. And I've had clients and fellow astrologers travel miles to go to be where they thought they would have a better solar return for that year. And I have to say that in my experience, and I'm not saying that this is general, and there may be other astrologers that will heartily disagree, but in my experience, it doesn't make a huge difference as to where you are for your solar return. The transits and the progressions are much more important, the midpoints. These things play much more into your chart than the solar return. It has some validity, but it's further down the list for me. It's just wonderful to just bask in your company. Ava's channel is asking, how do you let go of resentments and not wish bad karma on certain people who have harmed me? It's a really good question. And I'm not sure that there's a simple answer to that question. I think that first of all, it would be looking at your interpretation of what's harmed you and what you might have been involved with as your learning experience. What did that person bring to you that you've been able to learn from? I had a very, very painful breakup of a 20-year relationship, and it happened just before I started the channeling and the awakening that I had. And I honestly thought I was dying. It was so painful and such a surprise. It was not something I could have anticipated. But boy, did I learn some great lessons from it. And I still love that person. Can't help it. But it took some processing and getting the value. What had I learned? What will I not take into future relationships? How have I grown from this? And just know that when you feel harm and resentment to somebody else, it's doing you harm. It's toxifying your system. It's poison to you. Let alone what it may be doing in the field to the other person, but it's more poisonous for you. So if you can find ways of learning, what are the burning learnings? You see, it depends how long ago it was, because sometimes if it's very raw, then it needs maybe a little time for the healing. And then once again, going inside, writing it out is often very good, and then destroying it. There are many ways. Darling, that's a great question. How will the new Earth come about? Great question. We don't know. We just need to start doing it. All right? Because if we knew, then we'd start arguing about how it should happen. The answer is let's start doing it. That's why I'm starting to interview people now on my channel who are doing it, so that you can be inspired and join their newsletters. You can join some projects that they're doing. Yeah, let's start bringing this together. Yeah, maybe you know somebody who's over in Shaker. Tell me about them. Let's have them on the channel. Yeah, because that was feedback in the mic. I've not changed anything. So sound. Let's turn this a little. Sounding scary. Is that any better? Any better, guys? Mercury retro, I'm sorry. Gremlins on the line. Still choppy. Hello. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's worse. Scary. I love you guys too, and aliens have taken over. Try without the mic. Shall I, Walter? No, still buzzy. Somebody said it's normalizing. Further away. Is that better? It's better. Okay. Mercury in Taurus retrograde. We've got to, not better. Ugh. We've got to learn patience, especially until June the 4th. Okay. Right. Thank you. Whew. As they would say in Greek, idrosa. I'm sweating. I sweated. So, yeah, your question again, darling, how will it happen? We don't know how it's going to happen. We just begin to visualize it, see what you want. For me, I want a world that is playful, that is fun to be in, that is nurturing, that is nourishing, where I have friends and people who I feel love me and I love them, and that everybody is doing what they love, what they enjoy, that we're not slaves to a system, and that we are very creative, that we are creatively creating new Earth with all the possibilities, infinite possibilities that we haven't tapped into yet. It's like just opening to a brand new world, a whole new world. And, you know, it's just John Lennon's song, Imagine. To me, it's the words of Imagine. Yeah. You may think that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. And I'm not. We're here. Yeah, Maya's saying you can feel a big life change is coming. You feel like you're in a cocoon and not wanting to do much. Does the energy move forward after the retro? I'd say just move it yourself. It's like me doing the live today. It just wasn't going to happen. I was trying to plan it and this and that. Wasn't happening. So I thought, okay, I'm coming live and I'm just going to do it. Ready or not. And I would say, ready or not, do something. Do something. Go out and water your plants. Something. Take some action. Send an email. Move it. There is so much infinite possibility within each one of you. And we're just beginning to scratch that surface. I'm not closing my eyes on the difficulties. I'm not, you know that. I have many videos where I talk about the challenges facing us. But we've got to open the doors to a wider perspective of thinking and to train the conscious mind, the subconscious, the superconscious, the cosmic consciousness. We've got to really take it through all these levels where we just become unstoppable. Absolutely. Unstoppable. So I'm feeling very optimistic. Yeah. We've got a new moon in Gemini coming up on the 30th. We've got a full moon in Sagittarius coming up at the middle of next month. These are the mutable signs. These are power energies of being ready to be adaptable, being ready to change, being ready. You've seen my paintings change, yeah? Massively. It's just like, okay, this seems to be what's coming through now. I went off painting. Somebody invited me to go painting on an archaeological site, the sanctuary of the Egyptian gods, which happens to be 10 minutes away from where I live. So, you know, I just painted while I was there, and I showed my paintings, and now they're going to be in the Marathon Art Festival. So you never know, do you? You just do something you enjoy, and you never know where it's going to take you. And I think that we don't. What do we do? This is a good question. What do we do? Darlene's asking, what do we do when our families are not on board? Go anyway. Do something that you love anyway. You set the example so that they will come on board. We create a world that looks better, that looks more interesting, that's got more opportunities, that's got more possibilities. There's got to be a better way to doing things than fighting with guns and tanks and ammunitions and submarines and fighting and killing one another. We've done that. There must be better ways, and there are better ways. And I have great faith in the human spirit and that we're moving into a higher frequency. I have great faith in this. And you can't take that faith away from me, because I'll keep bouncing up again like that cork from the bottom of the ocean. I'll keep bouncing up and saying, yep. Truth Seeker is saying you've noticed a change in your family ever since you've been doing your own thing. Fabulous. Yeah. Jikra. Black Moon Lilith. I'm really sorry. It's not something that I'm really familiar with. Yeah, it's not something that I use. So I'm sorry. Can't help on that. If you've got another question, please ask it. So yeah, it's almost like we don't know how it's going to look, and don't worry about how it's going to look. Let's just start the creation process. I never know how it's going to look. I just get a canvas out. I choose a few paints and I slap it on, you know, and I choose a different brush or a different this or a sponge or fingers or something. Yeah, I love that. What a great word. Unbroken wings. We need to send out love and healing. No more hate, no more pain. And just know that when you're sending out hate and pain, it's not natural. It's not what we were designed for. Yeah, we are supposed to be the highest level of intelligence on this planet Earth. And before we create blooming robots that are going to be doing goodness knows what, programmed with this old frequency, we better get ready to program the new frequency into robots. But we've got to live the new frequency first. Yeah. Wow. Once you let go, Kelly B's saying, you're a domestic violence survivor, and as hard as it was, you had to realize you had to forgive him to heal. And once you let go of the hurt and anger, you healed. And he left you when you no longer argued with him. Wow. But yeah, there's a lot of programming. I'm not saying there isn't a lot of programming, but we can step out of it. Right. Gosh, there's so much coming through, and it comes through so quickly, I can't always catch it. You'd like me to interview Lee Harris again? I'd love to interview him again. It's kind of on both our lists. We're just both super busy, but yep, I would love to be with Lee. He's a darling. Darlene said you forgave your bully from childhood. Yeah. Just know that it's not serving you, but maybe it made you strong. Maybe it made you more sensitive. Maybe it made you more compassionate to people who got bullied. Yeah. There's so much. Yeah. Is it true? Wow. I think we got gremlins on the line again. Is it true that the Pleiadians came in 1987? I don't know, to be honest. Yes, they did. Okay, we're getting an answer. Yes. Okay. There you go. Darlene said it made you more compassionate. So it's, don't ask for comfort. Don't ask for ease. Don't look for that. Look for learning, for growth, for enjoyment, for fun, for creativity, for sharing love. Well, I've gone for nearly an hour now, and I have a feeling my sound is not quite as good. I'm not sure. Charmaine is asking what astrology course will help the man in the street understand and read a chart. Depends what level you're at. I've got quite a few beginners course. I've got one running at the moment, one a month per sign, per house, bringing a full picture together, but I've got a Learn Astrology 101 course. It depends what level you're at, but I've also got a free book list on my website, which you could look at. Thank you, Sloanerific Heart. Yeah. So I'd like to thank you for being here, whether you're here now or here in some future moment, which will be the now. And that you've come to do something special that only you can do in the creation of this new earth. This is truly an exciting time to be alive, filled with possibilities, filled with potentials. Look at the internet that we have, where we can communicate with one another all around the world with different frequencies, different vibrations. How rich is this? We're abundant, we're rich, as they say in Greek. Είμαστε πλούσιος. We're rich. So I thank you for being here today. From the bottom of my heart, από τη βάθη της καρδιάς μου, I think I got that wrong, but it's from the bottom of my heart. Much love. Thank you for being here.